So E3 is coming on, and just like every year, we got a bunch of people who have looked at the announcements and have forecasted the future of video games and decided that there's a crash coming and everything's irrevocably fucked. Pretty much every time we get a big video game announcement, you get idiots like this crawling out of the woodwork screaming about crash this and crash that, or some factually incorrect bullshit about a crash. And I'm sick of hearing about it and having to refute it, so I'm making this video so next time I can just point to it and say, no, you're wrong, this is why. There has never been a crash in the way that these idiots describe it, and there never will be. You can point at the 83 crash all you want and be like, no, that happened, it was totally a big deal. But the fact of the matter is, it was not a real crash, and it was not industry-wide by any means. It was specifically American console manufacturers that got fucked over. The entire time Japan was fine, Europe was fine, PC market, even in America, was fine, and the arcades were fine. If you don't believe me, let's look at some of the shit that happened between 1983 and October of 1985 when the NES arrived in America and the crash was officially over. Over in Japan in July of 1983, the Famicom comes out, and over the next 2 years it gains a steady library of arcade ports and original titles until it eventually becomes the NES in America. Over in Europe in 1984, a new game comes out. You might have heard of it before. It's called fucking Tetris. You know that game that's been ported to everything ever, even t-shirts? Yeah, that Tetris. Over in America, PC developers continue making games. In fact, Sierra makes the first King's Quest, comes out in 1984, right in the middle of the crash, and it legitimizes them as a PC developer, and they go on to be one of the biggest, most successful PC developers for the next decade and a half, making tons more King's Quest games and a bunch of other cult classics. Even the console game developers like Activision just start porting all their big successes over the PC and keep going like nothing happened. They continue to make money and continue to be successful, and they still exist today. There will never be a huge industry-wide video game crash because there's no precedence for it, and because the video game industry at this point is larger than the music industry and the film industry. So if it were to crash, it would only be after a huge global economic crisis that caused everything to crash, not just video games. People look at the last crash and act like if there were another one, the video game industry would just rise again from the ashes. But the fact of the matter is, that didn't happen in the first place. It was more like if the American industry was out driving their video game car, and instead of crashing, they just got a flat in their console tire, so they took out the pump and put in some more air in the PC tire, and kept driving like that until Japan noticed we had a shitty fucked up console tire and was like, hey, I bet our console tire will fit over there, so they gave it to us. If there were a huge industry-wide crash, Japan would have no tires, nobody would have any tires, and we'd all have to go back to riding horses. Now don't get me wrong, there's plenty of developers out there that I like to see go out of business, but it's not going to happen through some magical crash that fixes everything.